Hello, Sylvia Shults here, your host for Lights Out. Thanks for joining me for the show. I adored true ghost stories when I was a kid. I devoured every book I could. Anything that had the word weird or mysterious or haunted in the title was fair game. So to grow up and become a writer of true ghost stories myself is a childhood dream come true. If you had told 8-year-old me that I would grow up to write my own ghost story books, I probably wouldn't have believed you. And if you had further told me, at that age, that I would spend a future birthday sitting around a campfire, snarfing down s'mores and trading Jaeger shots with Troy Taylor, I think my head would have exploded. But that is exactly what happened. On my birthday one summer evening, I spent the evening exploring a haunted music house and a pioneer cemetery, then roasted hot dogs over a campfire with Troy and a bunch of other ghost hunters. Pull up a camp chair, shove a marshmallow onto the end of a stick, and let's go, lights out. Our investigation started at the Great River Road Opry House. This building is actually a repurposed airplane hangar, moved from Scott Air Force Base after World War II. The music house hosted many popular country artists in its time.
Oh my gosh, they're my sixth graders. Okay. Please, me. Okay. I have no stickers with me, so, okay. Okay, anyway, we call this the Great River Road Opry House because that's what it was called last. Connie, how long has it been closed?
It's been closed about 7 years. Probably.
7 years? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that seems about right. So when you do go inside, you'll notice that it's just a skeleton of a building. It's starting to come down, which breaks my heart, but I'm glad that we have this time here to... There's a lot more here than I thought there was. So it's at your own risk. If you feel like it's not safe, get out of that area. That's up to you. But anyway... we call it the Great River Road Opry House because that's what it was last, and you'll see when you get in there, the stage is still there, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you'll see where the performers were. Connie, tell us some of the people who performed here.
John Conley was here. David Frizzell was here. And what's the other guy's name? Gene Watson. Yeah. So, unless you know country music, you probably
I don't know any of those.
Me neither.
So that's why I asked Connie to tell you.
But they were big name entertainers years back.
So then there was quite a time lapse there where it sat empty before it became the Opry House. But before that, it was a seed company. So they were bringing in the seeds, drying them, big conveyor belt that went the whole length of the building. When you get up there, you'll see the whole length of the building. That's an impressive amount of space. I'm not sure how long it was a seed company. Do you know?
Through the 60s, that I know. Before that, I'm not sure.
I don't know how long there was a gap there.
Yeah.
But then before that, it was actually an airplane hangar during World War II. It was actually like an extension of Scott Air Force Base down here. So
they moved it here from Scott Air Force Base.
So it wasn't part of it?
It wasn't part of it.
They weren't like brothers or something?
No, it was at Scott Air Force Base, and they moved it here for the seed company.
They dismantled it and put it all together.
Yeah, they took it into pieces and moved it here. And they sold
off...
I
got that story from another investigator that you know who I'm talking about.
No,
so.
They sold it. It was sold as surplus after the war because they didn't need near as many hangars, obviously, when the war was over. So they were selling off a lot of the buildings as surplus, and the owners of the people who were going to start the seed company bought this sometime in the late 40s. That's the only thing I've been able to find. And they bought it, and it was dismantled and moved here, and how long it was before they got it open, I don't know. But I know that it was a seed company during the 60s, and it may have been before that. It may have been the 50s, too, late 40s and 50s. I just can't say for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that it was. I just know it was sold as surplus after the war. That much I do know.
We do know there are deaths, at least one death, that did take place within the walls of the Opry House. I don't know, do you guys want me to tell you ghost stories or not?
Please, yes.
Okay. Well, Connie, you can help me out on this, because you've been here just more than I have. There was an individual that hanged himself in a spot in there, and maybe I won't tell you that
There
part
you go. Don't tell him where it
of
was.
it. But yes, he did end his life by choice within those walls. Other than that, nothing documented that we know. I believe that there are several entities up there, most of them friendly. So you can go into it with that. Yeah, most of them friendly. Some of the grand experiences that I've had here, probably my favorite one, we were sitting on the stage one night having an EVP session. Everyone that was in our hunt was on the stage at the time, and we were asking questions, are you here were you a part of the, army, or were you part of the seed corn, are you here from the Opry? And out of nowhere, we hear the front door that we'll probably enter through when we go. Well, I think you can walk through the wall now.
Yeah, you just go through, yeah.
Anyway, you'll see it when you go in there. There's a ticket booth near a door, so you'll know that's what I'm talking about. And there's a wooden plank that's on a slope, so it was handicap accessible. We heard that door close itself. And soon after, we heard very heavy boot steps, very clear, coming down that wooden walkway. I actually have the recording of that, and it's incredible. And now I've heard tonight that that's happened another time, so that's something that's very possible. It's a very active area. We haven't seen anything in that area while that's happened, but keep your listening ears open.
Did you hear that, with your own ears?
Yes, ma'am.
On the EVP? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. That we heard loud and clear. We actually that night had two people who were visiting from Ohio, and they decided to get in their car and leave at that point. They drove all the way back to Ohio. They were done.
Jeez, why?
I know. I don't know.
It is a ghost.
It was a man and woman, and that woman flipped her you-know-what. So she was done. A lot of times we see back in the kitchen area some shadow figures. I have no explanation for that, but that's something to be looking for back in that area. Will you be able to tell it's a kitchen anymore? Maybe I'll just point that area out?
Yeah, it's got stuff in it, but you can tell it was a kitchen.
It's an area. It's a room of this very vast space.
It was a really cool building at one time.
It really was. Let's see, I was just going to say something else and I lost it. Oh, the last couple times that I've been coming here, and I know you've had this from the first time you've been coming here, if any of you have recorders, it's a great thing to have. We've gotten great EVPs here also, but also disembodied voices that seem like they're right behind you. The ones that I've heard have been female. I know you've heard female. Has it always been female for you?
Yeah, that I've heard with my own ears.
That I've heard with my own ears, it's been female. So, having your wits around you, know who's around you, because you hear something right over your shoulder, you could experience that same thing. You want to tell them about your music incident?
Yeah, we had, the last time we came last fall, we thought it was going to be the last time. So we had come out, I came out with Lisa, and Connie, you were here. Yeah. And we came out, and I said, and things were pretty quiet, I think, early on. And
it was.
Everybody was kind of sitting around on the stage, and we were sitting around just in the front part of the area. And a lot of people had, meters and K2 meters and things with them, and we were just kind of sitting there, and not much was going on. And I said to Lisa, well, what if we, try to play some music that might appeal to, whoever came here when it was an Opry?
Yeah.
So I took I got the Spotify working on my phone, and I went and found, oh God, what's that guy's name? The Texas Playboys. What was this? George Wills? No. Tex Wills? I don't know.
Tex Ritter?
No. Somebody Wills. Bob Wills. Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys. I don't listen to a lot of stuff, obviously. So I went and I found him on my phone, and we listened to it for a while, and my ears started to bleed from the horrible music.
Your feelings.
So I said, okay, I can't. Nothing's happening. I can't take this anymore. Let's switch it to Patsy Cline, because that I can handle.
There you go.
And so I went to try to switch it, but if anybody's using their phone, they may have noticed that service can be a tad bit sporadic out here. And I couldn't get it to work. I even went outside the building and tried to get it to link up, and I couldn't do it. So I said, so I came back in. I just put my phone in my pocket, and I said, "I'm sorry, guys, I can't get this to work." And it was no big deal. And so we were sitting in there, and it was quiet, and I was just kind of standing there, and all of a sudden, my pants started singing crazy. And somehow it linked up, and so it started to play. But the weird thing is that once the music started to play, literally every single meter in the entire room lit up.
Oh, wow.
All at the same time. Every one of them. And stayed through the entire song. They were going green, red, yellow, flashing, everything through until the song was over, and then it stopped, and that was it. And it didn't do it again.
Yeah.
That was it.
And
that
so
was weird.
That might be something that we want to try later on tonight, maybe playing some music. I know we've had Connie, she has a beautiful voice. She's sang before, and we've had some good activity with that. My friend Krista also tried it before, and I don't know if it's just women, maybe that's the thing, but
Or
Hannah has a beautiful voice too.
Yeah.
We have wonderful talent with us tonight. But if we're going to try that, I do suggest that we are all aware, maybe all in the same spot when that's happening. Because like I said, that whisper over your shoulder, if someone's got their phone going on the other, we need to be aware of that kind of thing. So we can do that as a group if that's something we want to try tonight. So did anyone bring any equipment or anything awesome?
Yes, good.
Okay.
We've got some too.
We've got some, and I'm willing to share as long as it comes back. And some new stuff we haven't tried here before, so we can give it a shot. But what's that?
What new stuff?
Recently we've gotten the REM pod I got for graduation. So we can try that maybe back where we always see the shadowy things going on. We have a spirit box that we hardly know how to use yet, but we might try that, and an Ovulus 3.
We got a couple of those.
Sweet.
Excellent.
I'd love to take a spirit box up to the cemetery when we go.
Glad you brought up the cemetery. On these
It should
grounds,
be optional.
it is optional.
Because
That's a real hike.
There is, on the grounds, on the bluff, there is a cemetery up there, and Sylvia can be our go-to on how to get there, but it is a trek, and again, it's at your own risk if you want to go up there. Also, there are Indian burial mounds, but those are pretty much inaccessible.
Especially in the dark.
Yeah,
right.
But they are there. Now, I don't want to discount anything out in these areas also. Actually, where we are right now, there's been several stories, I guess, given of small girl, right? Mm-hmm. We don't know the story about what happened. I don't know if it has something to do with the road or the land or the building, but there have been several accounts of a small girl that wanders around here. And outside of the Opry also, we've had great pictures, those disembodied voices. So don't just focus your energy just on the inside. I always end up doing it. I promised myself tonight I'll go outside because I just haven't. So I guess our only rules are be aware of the people around you, and if you leave, let somebody know so we don't think you...
And I'll remind you to be very careful in the building because there is a lot of clutter, boards.
Yeah, be very careful
and
in the building.
To the back of the building, not the one farthest away from us, there is a couple big pits.
Yes.
So make sure you
pits.
have your flashlight.
Yeah, make sure you take
Don't
your
go anywhere without your flashlight because you might find the ground is no longer underneath you.
Oh man, I'm always in the pits.
If anyone's going down, it's her.
Yeah, well, that's true.
So you stay away from the pit.
When a little bit later, when we do decide to make a trek to the graveyard, we'll do it as a group.
Yes.
We're not going to do it individually. It'll
Yeah.
be. We'll wait in an hour or so. Maybe we'll just anybody who
Well,
wants
is anyone
to go.
interested in making that
right.
hike?
I guess I should ask who wants to go.
Okay.
Okay.
So
there'll be
we'll
a few of
organize
us who
that
wanna
for
go.
you, and I'll make sure
Yeah.
everyone's aware in case you've changed your mind. And we'll make that hike if you want to.
Yeah.
And I can tell you,
we won't leave
the
you behind.
cemetery is pretty active.
The cemetery is very active.
Actually, it was just disturbed. There was
Is there like any kind of
Yeah, that
timeline
Oh,
that we're
yes.
on?
they might be really
Again?
sore.
Any kind of timeline that we're on, or just as long as we're getting hits, we can.
Yeah,
stay,
really.
or
For
what's
any of
going
us who are staying, anybody who's not camping here they go whenever they like. I mean, they're welcome to
You always
stay.
camp
but-
out inside the building, I guess.
Right.
if you
Anybody
want
who wants to stay, obviously. I mean, we got our tent set up You're welcome to do it as late as you want. When you're done, I mean, we really won't be out here making a lot of noise around the tent. So when you're finished, you can sack out.
Just let us know.
Just let us know that
Somebody know that you
didn't
that you are
disappear.
leaving and who's leaving with you, so we aren't out here looking for you.
Even if it's just
in
to
the
go
morning.
back to the tent, let us know. So
All of us are walking around in the building. There are about, 24 of us exploring the building right now. It's a big, big open space. The ceiling is just in tatters. There's a lot of debris on the floor. You can tell where the ceiling has fallen in and left rubble on the floor. I'm about halfway down the building. There's a small ticket booth here. There's an old horse collar sitting on the ticket booth, just abandoned. And on the floor next to the ticket booth, in the rubble on the floor, there's a guitar sitting here, unstrung, just leaned up against the wall. A couple of broken records on the floor. The Opry House closed years ago and has slowly been falling apart ever since. The cavernous building is slated for demolition, but for now it stands in the middle of a field, the ghostly strains of country music still echoing in its memory.
We already got the laser grid set up back there now.
That's what is Debbie putting hers up?
I don't know.
What's a laser grid?
Debbie, is that you with your grid?
If you see
I think it's Lisa.
Something passes in front of those lights.
spirits move in front of it.
Yeah, if a shadow person walks
we did see a lot
through.
of that the last time we were here. We had
Really?
it set up over here because this was all wide open and all this junk was in here. But we could see like figures coming back from the back part back there.
Wow.
Just
It makes it a lot
levitation.
easier to see shadow people.
Oh my. Down and lay down.
Everybody picks on Donna. Oh, okay, now you're going to talk.
Well, we're going to go down to the other end of the building. Would you like to come with us?
You want to come with us?
Well, I think she turned hers on down there. I don't want to have two of them down there.
Right. Well, we'll go over and talk with that one, okay? Just follow us down there and we'll be able to communicate.
It will block the light of the laser grid. And right there, sitting that, I've got the REM pod turned on, so if anything walks near it or touches it, it'll light up.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, make that very noisy.
It is pretty, isn't it?
It is. I turned around and saw it, and I want to run in there with some glow stick and rays. I'll rig it up.
I noticed I just sat down much like a cat. With many circles, and I kicked the ground a little.
Okay, we're standing looking at the laser grid, which is just lighting up the entire back part of the building. And it looks just like a field full of stars. And we are going to see if any sort of shadow people walk through and disturb the grid.
Donna, turn that off. You're blinding me. Sorry. I know.
What is that? What's going on up there?
Where's up there?
I see that.
Yeah, where she's taking pictures.
Oh, well, there's a...
Okay.
A tarp, and so
I
the wind's moving.
see. It's moving. Okay.
But that kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking for in the grid.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gunfire.
Yeah, I heard that. That's a shotgun.
That'll get you.
There's a moth or something flying around the grid.
Did the meter on the floor just do something?
I wasn't watching it.
Is that what that is up there with the orange?
Yeah, that's the REM pod.
Oh.
And so it's a small cylinder, and it has 4 different colored lights on the top, and the surface of the top is also glow in the dark, so you don't step on it. And then there's like a antenna that comes off that, and theory says that when a spirit, or anybody, if I walked up to it, it would do the same thing and broke that field around it, it will start to set off the lights. The more powerful the field or presence, the more lights you're going to have.
Have you used it before?
Yes, with much success, actually. Oh. I've not used it here, so I was excited to try it tonight.
I've never seen one of those, I don't think. What's Debbie?
Is anyone running digital recorder?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we can try to do a session. Sure. I mean, we have some background noise.
That's what I'm afraid of. There's a lot of talking.
When this was the Opry, right here to my right, through that door was the kitchen, and then right out here, you can't tell, but there was a room right here that they used as a dining area for the guests. And we've had a lot of activity just here, closest to me, not way back.
We've way back there then?
What's that?
What's beyond that false wall?
Well, when it was the Opry, it was storage back there. I mean, the amount of stuff you see in the middle, that's the amount of stuff that was on both sides back there. So we had activity back there. I don't have any personal experiences all the way back there. But here in this dining area, we've had a lot of activity. Not the last time I was here, but the time before, there was there were so many random things in this building because they were using it for storage, but there was a pool ball, like a 9 ball or something, that was in this vicinity, and it rolled itself across the floor without any...
Cool.
None of us touched it, but all of us saw it.
Wow.
We've always had a lot of good K2 luck back here, EMF luck. And when this was kind of closed off, it was kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but your eye always found itself going this direction because it was that darker than dark.
Right.
Looking for that movement in the dark. You always felt it.
I see bugs.
Yeah. I had that experience once. We were setting up at a restaurant bar. And I helped set up, but I didn't stay for the investigation. But as I was helping set up, we were standing at the end of a hallway in the kitchen, and my eye kept getting drawn to a certain the left side of that hallway, and I couldn't figure out why. And then later on during the investigation, after the investigation, they sent me a photograph that they had taken with the thermal camera, and there's a figure on the left side of the hallway.
Yeah, I see that.
The second time when we put the...
Have you guys ever done anything in Missouri? Do you guys do most of your stuff in Illinois? Or?
I do most of my work in Illinois, but they have been expanding quite a bit into Missouri through another employee of ours, Ginger. She was there today, had red hair.
Oh, yeah,
Ironically.
I've seen her before.
Yeah. And she is located in St. Louis, and so a lot of the work that she's doing with overnights are starting to spread that direction.
I've gone to the Tri-County truck stop a couple times. It's out Highway 44. It's out west of St. Louis. But there was 2 times when we were there that a little toy soccer ball, like you get out of a gumball machine, was thrown at me.
Oh, my.
And we couldn't figure out, once in the basement when we said, show us that you're here, and I walked, I could feel it whiz by me, and I was like, what was that? It was in the dark. And I looked and I'm like, what is this? And so, we do different floors that we split up, and a group does the top and middle and everything. And we did the middle part, and we were walking in the restaurant part, and over by the stairs, when I was walking towards it, another soccer ball came from like upstairs down, and nobody. Debbie was listening, and they found like the Diamonds was like a truck stop where families would stop and eat when they were traveling on Highway 66, and there was a little soccer board. Like you would have bought this for your kids to play with. They found it in a closet somewhere.
Wow.
And these two little soccer balls, so you could like hit them if your kids would, play with them. But that's what we found.
That's what they were from.
I mean, we left them there.
I liked when we were there last time and we saw that light run across the floor.
Yeah,
That was pretty cool.
it's been a very active
That was
place,
pretty cool.
and she's gotten a lot of
I got an EVP.
Tell me
of a
what
girl
it's called
going,
again.
Tri-County Truck Stop. It was the old Diamonds Hotel. It's up at 44 in Villa Ridge.
Okay.
Paranormal Task Force does all their stuff there. I don't know, PTF, do you ever hear of them?
I got a little girl there. EVPs of a little girl. She's 7. Susan was talking to me
You did just now?
at the truck stop. No, I won't hear any of my EVPs till I go home.
Debbie will call us for days afterwards and say, I found this picture, look at this. I found this picture. And she'll send it to us, and we'll try to listen to it and tell her what we heard. And people at work are like, what are you doing with that?
I always like to get everybody's opinion on it, but yeah, it's fun.
One of the best places was the Morse Mill Hotel. And we took our camper there once and camped down in the field.
That's one of my favorite pictures.
And she, while we were setting up the camper, she was just taking pictures
I was testing
outside.
my camera.
And you can see a little girl watching us.
Oh my gosh.
She's not a little girl. She's a woman, and she's wearing the old-time dresses, and her hair up in a bun. She came right down. Like, where we parked at was not even, like, next to the house. We're, like, down the road off to the side.
Right, like the
She
field
came
here.
all the way down.
Wow.
And I didn't even see her till I got back home and was, looking at him, and she's
You can see
totally
it
there
plain
in
as day.
this. It's really, really cool. But then I turned around and I took a picture of the house from that same spot.
He was just going
And when you
crazy.
zoom in, there's nobody in the house yet. We were even there before our
There it goes again.
Guys, we're getting K2 hits. Anybody else on their meters?
watching us.
Oh my god.
Anybody else with meters getting any hits? Is anybody getting K2 hits right now?
Now it stopped again. I think we should try to do something quietly and
Okay.
Maybe everybody join in if you're
yeah.
tell them what we're going to do.
Bob, is that you?
Does anyone here want to talk to us tonight?
It's Lisa. I'm back again. I'm your favorite, right? Hi, you got a clip. Thanks. Can you do that again? Did you get? Thank you. All the way up to 3. Well, you're gonna make me fool of myself here. Bob, is it you? Can you make it light up?
Ooh, all the way to red that time.
Oh my word.
Nice to talk to you again, Bob.
Hi, Bob. We're really glad to be here. We're glad you came and talked to us.
Bob, I'd like to know how you feel about what's going on here at the old Opry. Are you upset that it's being torn down?
Nothing.
Are you happy that it's being torn down so nobody gets hurt? Are you glad we're back tonight? I brought some new stuff with me tonight. Sitting right out there in front of me, there's a little box. If you walk by it, it'll light up just like what's in Hannah's hand over here. Am I talking to somebody besides Bob? Can you light it up for yes?
Nothing now.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us your name?
Can you show us if you're here with us still? You can give us a sign. You can knock on something nearby. You can touch one of us. You can light up one of these lights in any of these people's hands to let us know you're here. Or my favorite, go over there and stomp on that wood by the door.
Hannah, did you just whisper something?
No, I did not.
I didn't say anything.
I heard an indistinct whisper down on the floor to my
Really?
left.
I didn't hear a thing.
That might have been me. I was talking ahead.
Oh, okay.
There's a car going by for all your recorders. I've come to see you lots of times, and I believe you're still here. More than one of you. Do you mind that we've come to visit again?
Do you like having people come visit you?
You touching the chair and stuff?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just making sure.
I was having a bug issue. Better now. Oh, but I'm still touching it, sorry.
I was wondering. That's why I'm just making sure.
I didn't realize because I'm watching the meter. Sorry. Just out of curiosity, did you hang yourself right here in this building? Did you end your life?
You know, it's almost right where I was sitting.
Yeah, that's why I'm going for it.
Do you know the person that did that? Nothing on the meter.
No, mine's quiet now.
I heard a knocking coming over near that scaffold, but who knows?
Didn't hear a thing.
Could have been nature.
Oh, your
It's hard to
raccoon.
say, if it's not nearby, it's hard to say what that kind of sound is. Maybe you see all these little lights that we have shining. You don't have to be afraid of them. They're pretty fun. If you walk through them, it kind of looks like you're at a disco. But it'll help us see you. So if you're willing, just walk right on out there and we'll be able to hopefully see you.
Wouldn't you like to go for a walk in the starlight? People moving around behind us. That was my tummy growling. That was me, sorry. So guess one hot dog wasn't enough. I should have had a s'more. That's what I'm saying.
I kind of forgot about the s'more and I'm gonna need that s'more. You okay? Guess so. I thought you jumped. Did you? What? Did you jump? I thought she was talking to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the expert make me a s'more.
Is that me?
Yeah? Somebody was saying you were the expert s'more maker.
No, I think somebody said I was me.
She's the expert s'more eater.
Ah, maybe that was
I
it.
can say is a fact. You're losing your audience here. Is that what you're looking for?
Always leaving wanting more? Is that the old show business adage? Well, we want more.
You have a captive audience.
Of course, we are standing with our backs to the stage.
That's what I was going to ask. Have you had more activity back here than you have facing the other way?
I've had a lot more activity the other way.
So should we turn ourselves around?
If everyone would like to do that, I would love to do that.
All right,
gonna
let's watch a
You
show.
do that and I'll go get the meter thing on the floor out there.
An orange fingernail moon set as we explored the abandoned building. The night was moonless and black by the time a handful of us hiked up the trail to the Pioneer Cemetery. We walked a couple of miles, much of it uphill, to the fork in the trail that Del Dowdy had shown me earlier that afternoon in the daylight. And for those of you keeping score at home, yes, that means that I walked that 4-mile round trip twice that day. Happy birthday to me. Some of Del's ancestors are buried way up on that mountain, tucked away in the overgrown woods. I saw only about a dozen headstones when we bushwhacked through the clinging weeds that afternoon, and in the black of night, we couldn't see any stones from the safety of the trail. But Del assured me that around 90 folks are buried in those deep, dark woods.
You guys? Not me.
Interesting.
Is that you breaking that stick? If it was, can you do it again? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell us your name? Thank you for joining us. You're very close. You're very close.
Thank you so much for coming to talk with us.
I have total chills. You're a man. How old are you? What did you die from?
That was me shifting.
We'd like to help you. Do you have any kind of message that maybe you want to tell? He's gone. You don't have to leave. Come back and talk to us, please. We walked a long way to talk to you.
If somebody else wants to come and chat with us, that's fine.
You're not by me anymore, and that's okay. But can you let us know if you're still here by breaking another stick or making another noise? Please don't whisper.
Would one of the ladies like to come and talk with us just for a little while? Or one of the children? I have a couple of dogs at home. Do you like dogs? Did you maybe have a favorite horse? Can you tell me your horse's name? Well, what do you think, guys?
I think we took a long walk.
Me too.
But I want to thank you to whoever that was that came up. I appreciate the visit.
Thank you very much for visiting with us, and thank you for allowing us to be here for a while with you. Is there anything else you'd like to say? You can say anything you want to us.
That's really weird.
What's that?
My cord is acting up. I've never had problems with this thing.
The odd thing about this part of the evening was this. During that EVP session, Debbie's recorder kept shutting itself off. Mine stayed running, but hers just inexplicably stopped several times during our taping. We managed to find our way back down the trail to the field where we were camping. We joined everyone at the fire, and the talk naturally turned to ghost stories.
Tour. Because we can't do it because it's too far to walk.
I have a story about the cemetery in Alton.
Which cemetery?
Okay.
The old city cemetery?
The one where Lovejoy's buried.
That's the city cemetery.
Yeah, the city cemetery. So, I was there with my friends, and we had been to the McPike Mansion Saturday night.
Oh, you get Lauren going.
And that was a bunch of fun.
Talk to him about children in the corn, all the cornfields. He'd have to go by, get him all worked up.
So on Sunday before we drove home, we went to visit the ooh, thank you.
Every time
She does it every time, yeah.
Sit over there.
It lubricates the story.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Is that the only word you can think of?
It's true.
Maybe it's because I used the bathroom at Scotty's today.
Connie, where's Mandy?
Yeah, there are a lot of advertisements in there for
Mandy, go home?
products.
So we did go to see the Confederate cemetery, and then we went to see the city cemetery before we drove home. So we went to the whispering thing and whatever, and that was cool. And then all 5 of us split up and went in different directions. And I was walking down the street. It is. It's gorgeous. So
City cemetery. I don't think I've taken you there. I need to.
it's huge.
What's the one that Philip Mercer's in? And it
Well,
has a
that's-
big
okay.
statue of
That's
Elijah.
that's the same cemetery she's talking
I've
about.
been
City
all
cemetery.
through there.
Okay.
Several
Okay.
times.
Okay.
So I'm walking down the road, and I see something kind of draws me down, and there's an open, empty crypt just off the road.
Yeah, they're right behind they're built into the side of the hill.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of them back there.
So I thought that was so cool, and I called everybody together. I'm like, hey, you guys got to see this. There's an open crypt here. This is really awesome.
I know where the story's going.
Are you sure?
I bet I do.
Okay. So we went there and poked around and peeked in and everything. There was a bunch of rubble on the floor and an empty drink container too. And you could see there were stone shelves on the back of the tomb there where the coffins
were.
were.
Are you gonna eat that, or are you trying to smoke it? Okay.
Well, I'm gonna eat it now. So we took a bunch of photos in front of the tomb and everything, and I still have mine, just because I thought it was cool. And then we were about to leave, and it had been bugging me ever since I saw it, and I wanted to go in and pick up the litter that was inside the crypt.
Go with you.
I know. We might be the same moment. That was me on the streets of Chicago a couple weekends ago.
Yeah, she's like cleaning up garbage. I'm like, is that your Starbucks cup? And she's like, no, but someone left it here. I'm like, oh my God, we're in Chicago. There's garbage everywhere.
My arms were full collecting
Wow,
all
see,
the
I'm not that bad. I find the
it's
garbage
bad.
can pretty close. But, garbage in the cemetery just really bothers me.
Oh, yeah.
So, walk up to the lintel, and I stop right at the lintel of the tomb, of the crypt. And I just can't go any farther. It's not like anything was pushing back at me. I didn't really feel anything. I just felt completely disinclined to take another step. I backed up, and I tried it again. Just at the threshold, I just couldn't go any farther. So I took a step back and I said, hey guys, keep an eye out. There's something weird going on. I took one more step back and I kind of addressed the empty air. I said, look, there is some trash in the bottom of your crypt here. I think it's disrespectful. I would like to take it out for you and throw it away properly. May I come in, please? That's all I'm going to do. Pick it up, then I'm going to leave. May I come in? Walked right through. Leaned down, picked it up, walked out.
Weird.
You know, I
I didn't think so.
I've
Because
only
people
had
like
that.
live in those.
Oh!
Yeah, and there one time I was down there with an ex-girlfriend of mine, and we walked in, and someone was in there sleeping.
Oh, shit.
And she walked into the crypt, and the guy was like, I woke up, and she'd like wet herself, and screaming.
About with that feeling, I've only experienced it ever once, and I told you about it because you were there. We were at the First Unitarian Church in Alton, and I had gone downstairs. No, it was when I was going downstairs. We had customers downstairs, and I was just going to mingle and see what was going on, you know. And I was walking down the stairs, and I had this feeling like I can't go any further because it's like there's people on the stairs, you know, like, you know, that feeling that you have to kind of get over the side because you're sharing that space. I've never experienced that ever before that time. And then a second time, because I came back up, I didn't experience anything after I had gone down and checked on the people who were down there, came back up, felt funny, and I told you about it and whoever else was standing with you, and I said that was really weird, and I am not a sensitive by any means. But I had that feeling, and I said, you know, just for me, I need to go back and try that again and see if I get that same feeling. And I got down about 3 or 4 steps, and it was an immediate halt. And I came right back up, and I said, nope, didn't work. I can't get down the stairs.
Oh, my.
We went back later, though, because
Yeah, it was fine.
it was like an open... People were just investigating wherever they felt like going.
When I was down there, I got my shirt pulled on a few times, pulled my
And
jacket.
Troy and I kind of focused on the stairs since I had that experience, and it was completely open. I never felt that again. And that's when we had gotten the ovulus, and we were going to try it out. And it kept telling us pie. P-I-E pie. I mean, it said it 8 or 9 times to the point that we're starving for pie.
Isn't there a shop in Alton that has like the most awesome pie?
Yeah.
That's the one.
You know what?
I'm
I've had that
unaware of
happen
that
to
place,
me.
but
I've
at
had that
2
happen to
a.m.
me
we're not
one
getting it.
time,
Yeah.
and it was in the bedroom of the house in Belnor where the exorcism started. And so
You talked about that in
talked about
Bloomington
that
at the
that
Barnes and Noble in
happened to
Bloomington.
me. That's the only time that's ever happened. Well, I
Tell
did
the story.
I did flee the Bell Witch Cave in 1997. I was spending. Yeah, I was not in 7th grade.
I know.
I was supposed to be spending the night there, and I lasted like maybe not even an hour.
Really?
But I've been there 50 times since then, and I've never had that same kind of feeling again. But that one night was really weird. But the exorcism house, it was the first time I'd ever been there. I'd seen the house, but I'd never been inside. And I had gone there to do Dave Glover's radio show. He's a guy in St. Louis, and every Halloween he would do a thing, and I'd done a couple of them with him. And David called me and said, hey, and by that time I had moved out of Alton. Was I in Chicago? I think I was in Chicago. And Dave called me and he said, listen, I know you're not even close, but I'd done his show so many times talking about the exorcism case, right? And he said, listen, he said, I know that you don't live down here anymore. He said, but we are doing the Exorcist House in Belnor for Halloween, and I know you probably like to go in there, and he said, I'd really like you to come. And so I said, yeah, I'll be there. So I went down for it, and I drove down from Chicago, and we got to the house, and honestly, I just wanted to see it. To me, it was just, I mean, I'd had some weird experiences working on the first edition of that book. But I really just wanted to see it because to me it was just a historical spot. I mean, it was like a cool place that I'd been researching for years and years, and I really wanted to see the inside. So I didn't expect anything out of it. So I'm standing outside talking to Dave's producer, Tom, who I'd known for quite a while because I'd done the show so many times. And we were standing out there talking, and Dave comes out, and he goes, "Hey, man." He said, "I know you were here." He said, "Have you been inside yet?" And I said, "No, I just got here a few minutes ago. I've been talking to Tom." He said, "Well, come on, let's go inside before we get started." And so Dave and I went inside, and he goes, "Have you been in here before?" And I said, "No." I said, I mean, I know where everything is just from the layout of all the research, but I haven't really actually seen it. He said, "Well, man, let's go upstairs. Let's go upstairs." So we went up to the top of the stairs, and he said, "This is the room, this is the room." He said, "But they're like remodeling. And so it's completely empty. It's stripped down to the floor. I mean, it's nothing. It's a bare, empty room." And he said, "But this is the room where it all happened." So he said, "I know you've done those interviews with Father Halloran." He said, "This is where it all happened." And I said, "Oh, okay, great." So Dave walked in and was standing in the middle of the room, and he's talking to me. And I got to the doorway, and like Lisa said, I'm not sensitive at all, but I could not walk across that threshold. I just could not walk in. I was just standing there. So Dave keeps talking, and then finally he goes, "Are you going to come in here?" And I'm like, "I can't." And he goes, What? And I said, "I can't make myself get over here." He literally came over, took hold of my hand, and pulled me into the room. And you literally could see the hair on my arms was just standing straight. I mean, covered in goosebumps. And I honestly, and if I had gone into it thinking, "Oh, well, this is going to be weird. This is going to be weird." But I really went into it with, I just want to see this room. There's nothing here. I don't know why there would be anything here. But I honestly, and then after everything that happened that night, I really think there's something like a lingering presence of some sort in that room. Because we had 3 contestants, like contest winners who were supposed to stay the entire night in the room. Or they were supposed to stay an hour in the room where the exorcism had taken place. And they brought them there in a van, blindfolded. They had no idea where they were coming. They had no idea what was going on. Nothing. Wow. So when they got to the house, they brought them inside, put them in the living room, turned on the TV with a scene from The Exorcist of The Exorcism.
Oh, that's just mean.
Yeah, and said to them, "Maybe you figured this out by now, but you are in the house with a real exorcism that was the basis for this movie, took place in 1949. And, this is where you're going to be spending the night." And one of the girls said, "No, I'm not." And she says, "I'm done." And she left. She literally left. They had to drive her back. So the other 2 stayed. It was a guy and a girl. The guy lasted 10 minutes in the room. And he said he could hear something moving. Now, see, there was no one in the house. The house was completely empty. They were wired up. We could hear them over it was all recorded. It's not, they play it like it's live, but it was all recorded. We were all in the garage, which is a detached garage in back. And the guy was in there. We could hear everything. And he kept going, "There's something moving in here. There's something moving. There's somebody in this room." And he kept saying it. And finally he goes, "Okay, you know what? I'm done." And he left. 10 minutes. The other girl...
Where was she at that point?
She was outside in the van. Because they didn't want her to hear anything. Okay. So they put her in the van. So then they took him out. He was in the garage with us. They put the girl in the room. And we could hear everything over the speakers in the garage. She made it, seriously, a minute and a half. She was sitting in there, and we could hear it. Over the speaker, we could hear something moving, like sliding across the floor. And she's in there saying the Lord's Prayer. I've got the record. I've got a copy of the recording. You could hear her saying the Lord's Prayer, and then she starts screaming. And I mean, she was screaming that I can't believe the neighbors didn't call the police. I mean, it was blood-curdling screams. to the
No one
point
went
that
in?
no, Dave did.
Okay.
Dave was outside. He was out in front, and Tom left the garage. Dave went in the front, and they ran inside to get this girl, to turn on some lights and get her. She was a total wreck.
Oh, poor thing.
And ever since then, with the feeling I had and their reactions, I really think there's something in that house. And I never would have thought there was. Above a jewelry store, and back in the late 20s, early 30s, it was a speakeasy. Mm-hmm. And it was. I mean, it was. My grandfather confirmed that it had been. And it was upstairs, and it was next to a sporting goods store on the second floor on Prairie Street in downtown Decatur. And it literally had you had to knock on the door to the password to get inside.
Fun.
And this place really was haunted. I mean, we had a lot of activity there. And the guy who owned the jewelry store had actually called me and asked me to come in because they had just recently opened up that area. We're going to use it for storage. And then they had opened up the panel in the wall and found this room on the other side. And the room still had all the card tables in it because they had done a lot of gambling in there. There had been a roulette wheel and all kinds of stuff. And the walls of the entire room were completely plastered with clipped out like pinup girls from the 20s and 30s. I mean, just covering the walls.
That is cool.
And I've got tons of pictures that I took of them. There were times that they were some
research.
And they weren't nude. None of them were nude, but they were risque for the time, right?
Uh-huh.
So there had been times we had been there, and they gave me keys to come in a side door above a jewelry store, but obviously we couldn't go down the jewelry store. Mm-hmm. They gave us keys to get in a side door and let us investigate anytime we wanted to.
Nice.
And so we had gone up. There had been times we'd go up there and be doing something and would leave and go get dinner and come back. One night we came back, and there were on one of the tables there were old playing cards laid out, like 5 of them like somebody played a hand and left them on the table, and they had not been there before. I had them for the longest time, and I moved to Alton. I've moved like 6 times since then, so I don't know whatever happened to them. Unfortunately, I lost them. But one night we were in there and we were doing an investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that Dell?
Dell?
Yeah, with the truck.
Oh yeah, you know what? He may have come in over on that side. So anyway, we were up there doing an investigation one night, and we were sitting around the table, and it was really quiet. And we were recording everything. Mm-hmm. And I had said, is anyone here? Is there anyone present? That kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And at one point on the tape, you hear a voice go, "Hello," just like that. Mm-hmm. So I got so excited about this answer to the question. It was on tape. I put it on, I dubbed it on it, and I played it for we'd have groups. I'd speak somewhere, and I would talk about the speakeasy, and I would talk about this, this seance we had up there, and here was this voice that says hello, and after the 4th time, one of the guys who'd been with me up there goes, "Troy, I need to talk to you." Oh. And I said, "Okay," and he said, that recording you've been playing?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Man," he said, before we went up there that night for the investigation, his wife and he and his wife had gone and had chili. It was his stomach. And he was sitting near the microphone, and it was his stomach that had made that noise.
Oh, that's
I need those, huh?
Oh my God! Yes.
How did we
Oh
miss
no!
those?
How did we? That?
I didn't even put those out.
You told me to carry them in. I carried them in.
I know you did.
You guys got anything left to eat? I'm about to starve.
I think there are hot dogs left. I was going to have another hot dog.
Here's the hot dog
that'll
stick.
work. Just anything. It's just right here.
I know they have hot dogs.
Thank you so much for spending my birthday with me. Join me next time when we'll explore haunted asylums, sanitariums, and prisons. Keep your flashlights handy because we'll be going lights out.